Oh, hello. You might be wondering why I'm dressed up like this. Well, it's a very simple answer. I'm waiting for the world to finally end. And because I've decided that I'm just gonna wait here and let the Rona go ahead and apocalypse us into the ground, I don't really have a script for this one because, frankly, I'm tired. And it might be because I'm wearing a face mask and a bunch of metal on my head and my body that's making me excessively hot, in addition to the lights and living in a metal box. But I think on this one, I'm just irritated enough that I can do this without a script because we need to talk about Terminator Dark Fate because I've been putting it off for too long and really, I need to get this out there. I've been doing a lot of stuff to distract myself from this very eventuality. I've been watching Better Call Saul, I've been doing a lot of reading, I'm almost done with this series, thank God, it drags on. I'm sorry Andrej, I want to love it more than I do. I'd be getting some more shooting in, but frankly, ammo's expensive. And I need to get it out there, guys. I think I've made it clear in the past, and maybe I haven't, but I want to reiterate. I don't like hating things. I really don't, because frankly, to hate something is a worse feeling to me than just general apathy, because at least with apathy, my heart rate doesn't increase and I don't have palpitations from it. But hatred does those things to me. I don't think I have an arrhythmia or a bad heart or anything like that, but I feel like with each passing moment I watch something terrible, I gain that. It is hot in here and I need water. It's a very special kind of bad. And I need to articulate exactly how, and it's gonna suck because I'm just going off of what I can say in the feelings, and I think that'll probably carry it mostly, because I want to make it clear, I've never really hated a Terminator movie ever. Terminator 1, basically a sci-fi slasher action movie that is just a brilliant piece of work. Terminator 2, an even better sci-fi, not quite slasher, more action movie that is heralded as one of the greatest sequels of all time. And not only that, it's technologically one of the more interesting movies out there just for how well it holds up today, almost 30 years later. This movie looks gorgeous today still. Terminator 3, kind of a weird one. I don't know why there's a scene of the TX increasing its breast size to be more like, I don't know what you want to call it, just charismatic to the male gaze or something. Christina Loken, whatever your name is, you were hot back then. I'm sure you are still now. Terminator Salvation, just a really good look at the post-apocalyptic world of the machines. It's really good, I think. Christian Bale does a good John Connor, and there's just a lot of good action scenes in it. Can't really say anything bad about it. Terminator Genisys was borderline insane in ways, but in a weird way, it's an insane I can get behind, because at least Genisys requires people that have seen the first Terminator at the very least, and were such huge fans of it that they not only recreated some scenes that were extremely well done, but they actually decided to go off the rails and just have fun with it. I mean, Emilia Clarke maybe wouldn't be my first pick for Sarah Connor, but she at least does her best to carry the role as well as she can. And Jai Courtney, while he's not exactly a memorable actor besides like Captain Boomerang because unicorn fetish, he at least tries his best to be a halfway decent Kyle Reese. There, I gave faint praise to Jai Courtney. Can I at least be given credit for that one? Who's done that? But Dark Fate... Okay, listen, I think it's very clear by now that no one hates female protagonists. Everyone likes good female protagonists. Sarah Connor, to name one startlingly huge one for people, in case they can't get that. Others include Ellen Ripley, Katara, Harley Quinn in quite a few of the comics, or in the cartoon series or something like that. There are plenty of good female leads that people can draw on. Maybe they don't all jump out at once, but they exist. So when the director of this movie, the same man who directed Deadpool, decides to say that if you don't like this movie, you're a misogynist, I want you... Tim Miller, if for some reason you're watching this, which I doubt you are, but hi, my name is Daniel. I am a fan of Deadpool. I love the movie. And if I ever see you, I hope you know a good proctologist, because I'm going to shove my boot so far up your GI that every time I wiggle my toes, it tickles your uvula and you want to throw up. okay? Because let me tell you something about the female characters in this movie. You ready for this? Boring, boring, oh god, what did they do to you? It is honestly shameful to think about how far Linda Hamilton's character of Sarah Connor has fallen since T2. It really is, okay? At least you could say that, what's her name? Danny Ramos or Grace are just poorly written characters that don't really have to exist, and they could just be done away with almost because they make no logical sense. But Sarah Connor is an icon. And this movie is a desecration to the character. I know that sounds like I'm being hyperbolic and I'm being a super fan or whatever. But the thing is that this goes beyond my own personal take on it and my own like childhood upbringing with this movie and how it shaped my perception of women and how I treat them. But it also is just like taking her character and raking it across the coals after cutting her to pieces with glass or something. Very slowly. It's nothing but pain.
Jesus.
Everything that comes out of this movie involving Sarah Connor is painful. And I don't know if that's reflected in the performance because Linda Hamilton just seems generally disinterested in everything that's happening in this movie, or if she's just lost her acting ability in the almost 30 years since she has been in this franchise. Like, I genuinely think that the cameos that they got her voice roles for in Salvation were better than this, even if they were inconsistent with what they sounded like in Terminator 1. Hell, even in Terminator 3, her character was held up better because at least in Terminator 3, it makes it clear that she didn't want a burial, she just wanted a cache of weapons for an emergency purpose for her son to use in the event that he's got nothing else to use in that general area. That makes more sense to me than anything that's happening in Dark Fate. And I don't understand anything about the resistance in Dark Fate, okay? Because here's a general synopsis of the plot. After having stopped the nuclear Armageddon and the machine war, I'm sorry, it's so stupid I have to kind of fully wrap my brain around it again. But after stopping that, what happens is that a Terminator that they had no idea existed and just kind of got written into existence for this movie to happen, still tracks John and Sarah down to Guatemala where they're hiding out because, hey, they're kind of on a watch list now, kills John, leaves Sarah on her own, and Sarah just starts hunting Terminators that are being funneled to her on where they at and where they arrive for, I guess, 30 years now. I don't get it. It makes no sense. Apparently, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger later on in the movie, the same Terminator that killed John for some reason. It's dumb. Anyway, apparently, the machine war is still destined to happen because, as we learned in Rise of the Machines from what that Terminator told us...
But we stopped Judgment Day.
You only postponed it. Judgment Day is inevitable.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
So thank you for at least remaining semi-consistent with that piece of lore for some reason. And then, for some reason, because John Connor got capped in the frickin' chest with a shotgun shorty, we are now relying on our chosen one being Danny Ramos. Some random chick from Mexico, which, okay, whatever, cool. I'm not against the idea of her being in control. It's just that the entire movie I'm not given a reason to besides she's going to do it. Why? Because I told you. No! The reason John Connor works so well as this almost quasi-messianic figure in the mechanized apocalypse is that it's at least told to us through Kyle Reese in Terminator 1 that he's going to be, and it's transmitted to Sarah. And Sarah, knowing this, decides that she needs to reinforce these predestined things that are going to happen. So what does she do? She basically puts him through what we can only assume, we're never seen, but we can definitely highly assume that he's been given a lot of time with weapons, how to handle them, how to maintain their upkeep, squad-based tactics probably, for all we know. Sarah Connor went off the frickin' deep end here, people. And I gotta tell you, I'm not exactly given any reason to doubt that she didn't put him through live fire courses at a very young age, because, let's be honest, when your kid's gonna have to saddle the entire world's, like, military or whatever against frickin' machines, I'm guessing you're gonna be having a bit more of what we call extended curriculum, if you will. Hell, even in Salvation, we see that he's some kind of high-ranking military member, because at least they listen to him in some capacity, even if at the time they don't understand why. But at least we know that everything that he's received in training in his life has put him in a better position to be in it, even if people don't believe his predestined, like, role in the frickin' timeline, whatever you want to call it. Flip side, all we know about Danny Ramos is that for some reason, okay, here's another thing. All we know about Danny Ramos is that she benefits highly from the circular paradox, and now that she's been told by Grace that she will be the leader of the human resistance against Skynet, which isn't even Skynet at this point, so we've kind of gotten away from anything Terminator related, except for Arnie and Sarah Connor, but we're given nothing. Really, there's no indication that she's really this person from the get-go. And maybe here I'm being a little bit too harsh in saying that, oh, she's not going to be useful because she wasn't brought up from birth, but guess what? That helps a lot. I'm not going to condone child soldiers because I'm not immoral, but if there's anything I've learned from like the Halo series, I'm pretty sure that people brought up from a very young age to be nothing but trained warriors are more capable at taking on a not only intergalactic, but just planetary threat, for that matter, than someone who is only learning at the tail end of things. The time to prepare for stuff is when you have 20 years ahead of time to get it figured out, not 5, as the case is with Dark Fate. Danny Ramos only has a limited amount of time to get anything figured out, and if the movie's any indicator, it's not going very well for her because Sarah Connor decides to saddle her with a DP-12 shotgun. Something that is way outside the purview of a 5'2", just small woman to handle effectively. Yeah, it can be done, but guess what? It's gonna take a lot more doing. Hell, I'm about maybe 6'2" in boots, and this thing is still kind of a bit much for me at times. So I'm really not buying into this whole she's gonna be a leader thing or anything like that because I just can't. The movie doesn't convey it in a way that is organic. Because, again, going back to John Connor, at least we have a frame of reference for why he might be good and have these things down. Like, let's just take Terminator 2 for example, right? In a gunfight, while he's not actively participating because that would be dangerous and make him more of a target, he's handing off ammo to his mom or the Terminator. He's hacking into computers with nothing more than his wits and a little Atari handheld that he's reprogrammed to not only get into freaking bank vaults, or in the ATM machines at least, but into just Cyberdyne Systems mainframe, which I don't even know how he's managed it, but knowing Sarah Connor, she has probably instilled it into him to have it figured out. And that is more believable to me than anything happening with Ramos. I don't like saying that. I don't like thinking about that because it's stupid. And then we have to get to Grace, okay? Grace just logistically makes no sense. In universe, it makes me question the state of the Resistance that they can make a super soldier that is almost on par with a Terminator, for that matter, whose sole purpose is to go toe-to-toe with a Rev-9, as they're called, or a Terminator. Because, first of all, you have to assume that she's going to be able to get within fighting hand-to-hand distance of this thing for this to work. And second, she only has a very limited window of actually being able to do this, and possibly coming out on top and killing this thing, before her body just crashes because, oh, I used all my vitamins and now I have to go and get more suppositories or IVs to fuel my body and repair so I could do, like, isn't that like some kind of serious freaking problem? Like, logistically speaking now, people in the military don't want people with flat feet because that in itself is a huge detriment to your well-being as a soldier. I can't imagine that's a good idea that your walking, talking human wonder weapon that is cybernetic is only going to be worth good 5 minutes in battle, and after that you're going to have to freaking carry it in a stretcher because you need to get this thing off the battlefield quick because you're not going to be able to replace it very easily. Oh no, it's dead. Your whole squad's dead. Screw you guys. I had to make sure I was a super soldier. And she will never stop reminding you that she's a super soldier. And considering everything I've just said now, I don't know how she is that. You know, going back to Halo, a super soldier for me is something like the Spartan 2 program, or RoboCop, or again, the T-800 Cyberdyne Systems Model 101, the Terminator, for lack of a better example. Someone that really is meant to be just a killing machine that operates on nothing but sheer will and focus alone, with minimal maintenance from outside sources. Meanwhile, Grace has no business being on a battlefield for more than 10 minutes lest she get supremely dehydrated and go into organ failure. And they make it a thing in the movie that every time she gets in a fight, they have to immediately dart over to a pharmacy or somewhere where they can refuel her because she's gonna go into some kind of shock and die because she is a glass freaking cannon. And I gotta say, even as a character beyond the logistical standpoint, Grace is just uninteresting. She's got no personality. She's got no freaking, like, there's nothing to her that really makes me care about her. I mean, yeah, okay, her parents died when the world went to hell in a handbasket, but I gotta say, there's about 3 billion people with that same backstory that could be more compelling, literally speaking. I am the waters of life. Drink freely before I can remember the rest of the Revelation quote. But Grace is just boring. She reminds us that she's a super soldier all the time, and I can't buy it. If she is a super soldier, she's the worst super soldier I've ever seen in fiction so far. I mean, it's not exactly like she's gonna go toe-to-toe with John 117 or anything. Or hell, even like one of the Ungoi or something like that from Halo, because I got that on my brain because Halo Infinite's so close. She can't even take on her own incarnation of the T-800, for God's sakes. And I think that's the base model. When you can't even take on the lowest bidding common denominator foot soldier in your universe's opposing army, you're nothing more than garbage. You're worth more as a chunk of frickin' metal made in a trash compactor than you are as a breathing soldier. So, you know, there's your fancy way of saying kill yourself. And then there's Terminator, the last Terminator in existence that killed John Connor, because evidently Skynet sent numerous Terminators back in time, and there's the plot point I never quite understood that never made sense to me. Why is it that Skynet only sends like one back to a time period? Is it because that's all they can manage? Is it because that's all they know and that's all the time they have? Like, I always wondered this from Terminator Genesis. Is it because the human resistance is so close that they only managed to get out like a couple Terminators into the past before, you know, TechCom destroys everything and then they reappropriate it for themselves and send back their own protectors? Because I'd like to know why, because that's a huge deal. But anyway, random thing that they just wrote in and pulled out of their butt. But the Terminator that killed John eventually just kept learning and lived as a human. He became a stepdad. He has a family. His name is Carl, I think. He makes draperies. Okay, that's not the stupidest thing I've heard in this movie. I'll run with it. It really kind of hurts seeing... I'm guessing this is Arnold's final appearance as a Terminator because he's getting up there in years and they kill him off. He's the last one. Unless they don't. I don't want to think about it. I don't want any more Terminators to be made. If I have to give this movie credit for one thing and one thing only, because I want to be at least kind of even-handed about this, the only thing I really liked about this was Gabriel Luna as the Rev 9, the Terminator of the new timeline. Because here's the thing, while the rest of the movie sucks, he at least makes me think that he is a viable, walking, talking, killing machine that kind of harkens back to Robert Patrick as the T-1000. Like, when you see him in several scenes, he changes his accent, he's approachable. Not only is he a liquid metal Terminator riding on a metal endoskeleton that is its own Terminator, basically. He's cunning, he's witty, he's very much able to blend in like a Terminator should be able to do. In every scene that he's in, I'm very impressed with how they kind of portray this infiltrator. I think one of my favorite scenes is where he's dressed up as a Border Patrol agent, and he's going into a detention facility. In order to get in, because he's made of all metal, he sets off a metal detector and he says, yeah, sorry, replacement hit from Afghanistan. And they scan it, boop, 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 and they're like, all right, fair enough, checks out. Because that's smart. That at least entails that he knows where he's at. He knows how to BS his way through things in a logical fashion. Not only the disguise that he has, but also the background that would come with it. That's good. Great. Thank you, Dark Fate. You at least managed to pull one nugget of gold out of that pile of crap that you were in. So, that's good. Because the rest of the movie makes you want to take that guitar over in the corner you can't see and bash it over my head. I know I'm not much of a drinker, but strange times indeed, people, because this next one I really do need a shot. Good God. Okay. Okay, now, all of this wouldn't be as much of a problem if it was inside of a bubble. The reason I'm not more mad at Terminator Genisys is while it's a failed attempt at rebooting the franchise and starting a new trilogy right off the bat, the thing of it is that Dark Fate was meant to be another reboot of the franchise in its own right. But not only was it meant to be a reboot, no. This is the direct canon sequel to Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Let's take a moment to just embrace that cancer for a moment. Or one might ask, why exactly would they do that? Why would they line up what is considered a crown jewel of action movies next to a dumpster fire? Well, I don't know, but James Cameron was directly involved, and I got nothing on this one, actually, now I think about it. Or you know what? No, I have something. You know what this is? Do you know what this movie is? It's the film equivalent to Aliens Colonial Marines. It's a direct canon sequel to one of the most iconic films in its own genre of all time, and it is an absolute travesty. Not only is it a spit in the face to fans from people who actually like the original movies, from the director, the writer, everything going on there, not only does it take a good character, one who is a genuine icon, who walks along giants of all kinds, who still inspires millions of people, men and women alike, in fiction or in non-fiction, the planet over. Not only is it produced, and I think co-written maybe, I can't remember, by the man who made it famous in the first place, who is the reason that it was good, but it had to say it was the canon sequel. This isn't an Elseworlds. This isn't some weird, like... They had to go and do this. They had to say, you know what? Rise of the Machines, Salvation, whatever. Non-canon, different universes. They had to bring the multiverse or whatever into this crap. In doing so, they have spit in the face of fans, spit in the face of people who've probably never seen the first couple Terminators, and maybe have steered them away from the series because this one was terrible, but they have killed the franchise. And I know that sounds hyperbolic, like you think I'm gonna say, my childhood, because I grew up with these movies. I love them to death. I watch them every weekend. I had VHS tapes of these movies that I freaking probably wore down with how much I watched them because I was a poor. They have taken what is one of the most iconic sci-fi action franchises of all time and just taken it into the back alley and shot it in the head with a plasma rifle with a phased 40-watt platinum. I can't even make the reference right. I'm so mad at this movie right now. God. Pain without love. Pain can't get enough. The shot of whiskey might have been a bad idea. I haven't eaten much today. Folks, I know I'm late to the party on this one, but I get it. I know I am. I'm like so freaking late. I'm several months and what like a year behind on this maybe. But I only just recently got to it, and the impression and the taste it left in my mouth was so sour that I genuinely had to take this long a time to fully process and just figure out what angle to come at it from. And when I realized I couldn't write it because it's a primal feeling that gets awakened in me, I just had to let the juices stew so I could actually say all this. You know? Because I'll be honest, when I was watching it, I contemplated to myself, what would hurt worse? watching this movie, or getting my guts eviscerated by a K-bar. And I already jabbed this hand in this general area with this knife once, and I gotta tell you, I got more pleasant experiences out of that than I did the movie. I would actually rather stab myself in the exact same place again, because at least then I feel like I could see something enjoyable and different. I could see how to heal myself, how to properly dress a wound. Meanwhile, Dark Fate just makes me want to get hit by a bus. So that's my takeaway. Don't watch Dark Fate. Go do something enjoyable. Find something better to watch in quarantine. And just, in general, find something better to do with your time than watch that movie. Read, maybe. Go play a video game. Watch The Boys, for instance. Watch Supernatural. Watch The Office, as Drew likes to recommend to me. But for the love of God, don't watch Terminator Dark Fate. As always, I'm Dan the Movie Man. Have a good day. Don't catch the coof. And I guess always buy guns and ammo, because I got nothing else free on this one. Have a good one.